let's get into it. Here we are, another week, another episode of Real Housewives of Dubai. All right. Season 2, episode 2. What's this one called?
Friendship on the Rocks.
Mm-hmm. Friendship on the Rocks. Oh, like a drink.
That's right.
Oh, now the name is clicking for me. All right. I'd like to, start us off with a toast. All right.
On the rocks.
On the rocks. To, I would say, some of the most interesting, if not even endearing, real husbands out there.
Real husbands of Dubai?
Yeah, to the husbands of Dubai.
Sergio and them. Cheers.
You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind You!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media.
If they added Peter and Apollo, it would be finished. Okay, now
I haven't thought of Apollo in so long. He would be perfect on Dubai.
Why on the Married to Medicine reunion with Phaedra?
They haven't been married
behind her. It was weird.
It's like Apollo, Peter, and throw in Gordon. That would be a good time with Sergio.
Okay. Michael Darby, we forgot. They were playing.
I think we see a little Michael Darby in the character of Rich on Dubai.
One part of Michael. Yes. You know, they were gonna do a house husbands trip. I don't know if that was like fake, but they were circulating it on social media, and they had like the cast. Who do you want to see on the trip? And a bunch of people in the comments were like, "Please, enough with the husbands." I was like,
"Are you kidding?"
No, a lot of people don't like the husbands in general. Like
they don't want them getting involved. But I'm like,
yeah.
What?
That's sexism. I'm sorry. That's like a patriarchal.
Because it's always like, get involved in women's business. Get out.
I know. I hate that. Yes, it is. It does enforce this notion of men as like inexpressive, like not having meaningful friendships. Like that's not good.
No,
right? Be dramatic and in the mess. Okay.
Yeah.
You remember circulating on social media last year was that like meme that was like, imagine the messiest bitch you know is a man, ain't it?
Yes. Yeah. No, it's actually repulsive.
His name is Ivan. Okay.
Yes. But no, like when Juan is like, don't get me involved. I'm like, no.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's why Juan's not. Actually, Juan is invited on the trip.
Yeah.
As Michael's +1.
Yes. Oh my God. It's Michael's boo.
I will say all of this husband's talk. I'm gonna, I guess not toast, but pour one out for Greg Leaks.
For Greg. I was just about to say Greg Leaks would have been the ringleader on a trip.
Yes.
And Greg loved a husband's moment. Oh.
He did.
Y'all remember the infamous hotel room scene that went bad?
Okay, we need to do an episode dedicated just to that. Let us know if that's what you want to see. Because
before it was bad, it was a good time.
Before it was bad, it was good. That's the story of my life.
The title of your memoirs.
I'm so glad that's recorded. I almost started writing it down. Okay. All right. Yes. So Ellen's going to give the recap. She will attempt to give the recap. Let's see how she does. I don't want to jinx it for her.
See, okay.
Let's see.
Have faith in me.
Listen, like as much as y'all had for me.
Anyway, let me know when it's my time.
All right. Well, this woman supports women, so I really hope you do well. On the count of 1, 2, 3, go!
Okay, Friendship on the Rocks. The episode opens with the women split into 2 groups, debriefing last week's major event, a brunch hosted by Lisa. So on the one hand, we have Sarah, Brooks, and Talene at Talene's house having mimosas on the terrace or the patio. On the other, we have Lisa, Stanberry, and Ayan having a very detoxifying brunch somewhere. The thing about the divisions is that they're not sustainable. That's the most important part. But of course, what the women are debriefing is both the event, and the main event is kind of the drama between Ayan and Sara on the one hand, and the drama between Stanberry Brooks and Katherine on the other. Next scene, we get Ayan at Ayan Beauty, which is her new makeup line, creatively directed by a makeup artist she's known for a long time. Her husband, Chris, is like in charge of the business side of things. There, she speaks with Chris about her conflict with Sara and expresses regrets. And Chris,
you were nowhere close, but keep going. Keep going.
Chris, okay, I'm gonna be real fast now. Okay,
now that you're not timed, okay.
Chris forcefully prescribes for her what her error was in the context of that conflict, which, if you ask me, was absolutely nothing. So then we get Lisa at her house playing soccer in the yard with Rich and the kids. She calls Rich a stage dad. He denies it. Rich is scary. End of story. Sara and Ayan are in the next scene, and this is the long-awaited, like, post-conflict conversation between the two of them. It begins with Ayan reading a letter she wrote on like journal paper where she skips every other line and basically wrote it with crayon. Like it's not a serious letter. She's like, Dr. Sara, not doctor. No, doctor, I must call you. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. Another hilarious moment from Ayan. It ends with Sara manipulating Ayan and Ayan naively being like, embrace me. You think I'm an angel? That's great.
She cried. Ayan cried.
She cried so easily.
In other words, like, she's very amenable to flattery, and that part is terrifying to me.
It's like flattery can override the actual accountability that she sounded like she was after in the first episode.
Literally, Sara took no accountability. She said, your people and your culture hate you. And I get that that's actually what you're mad about.
Okay, and that's the thing. I, too, am amenable to flattery, but she disrespects her again with this is for the next time your people and your culture make you feel bad. No, bitch, it was you.
Yeah, at no point did she really apologize. She came on the heels of Ayan's apology with the like, and I'm sorry your feelings were hurt. Like some trash like that. It was absurd. So next scene, we get Talene and her daughter going to visit Brooks at her spa, which is quite nice, I will say. And it looks like Brooks is there constantly, just like overworked, which I can imagine. And I'm empathizing with her on that basis. They just have a little kiki moment over a pedicure, and what we learn is that Brooks, we learned some troubling things about Brooks to be discussed later. Okay, so next scene, we get Sergio and Stanberry, like not actually packing up their things out of the friend's house that's been hosting them, just like staring at them,
rearranging them,
like discouraging the friend from going to access his things in the closet, just like, don't touch our things.
That's like me.
Got no home training. Kind of that man in his household. We also get Sergio expressing his concerns about Stanberry's upcoming college tour with her daughter and ex-husband. Next, we begin the party. Talene and Rafi are hosting a party consisting of about 20 guests. It looks like it's mostly for the housewives. Talene has already started drinking because she's nervous. We then cut to Lisa, who will not be in attendance at the party because she is picking her mother up from the airport with her young sons. And that's pretty much all we get of, Grandma Lisa's arrival in Dubai. Juliet, okay. Then we're back at Talene and Rafi's party. Lots of things happen there. It's a very chaotic scene in a rich way. First, and for me, a very noteworthy moment is when Sara walks in and she meets Talene's family, including Talene's sister, and she is so rude to her. It's disgusting. She's like, talk. I'm like, girl, what? In front of her parents? Like, have you no cool? It's nasty. Yes. We also get Brooks showing up drunk as a mug, pretending like Talene betrayed her for inviting Stanberry to the party. But then later when Brooks gets drunk enough, she is back canoodling with Stanberry saying like, hey, I miss you. And another moment worth noting is that, anyway, we'll talk more about it. But the major event of the party is that Stanberry and Brooks presume to have a conversation about this conflict that later draws all of the women who are in attendance in. And the episode ends on that scene.
Yes, indeed. So
1 minute. Right?
Our resident expert on Western time here.
Yes. Is there anything else that we want to add? I know we gave a little more info about Ayan and Sarah's angel composition notebook moment, but is there, anything loose ends you want to tie up there, Ellen or Kristen?
I continue to think Ayan is very funny, and the prospect of her losing her good sense and becoming friends with Stanberry is really distressing because I don't want to see it. But she, at one point when Sarah arrives, Sarah's like, "Oh my God, I love what you're wearing," and Ayan goes, "Me too."
One thing along these lines is like at the opening scene when they're having their like detox brunch or whatever. Stanberry, Ayana's complaining about the sound of Taleem's voice when she's drunk in a talkative moment, and it's nothing that serious. Like nobody would be deeply offended by it. And then you can see Stanberry's face waiting, just irritated, lip quivering, and she's like, "Now you know how I feel. That's exactly what I thought about you all of last year. You met someone more annoying than you." And I'm like, the way I would not be friends with this B word. Like, are you kidding? She's just nasty, and she lives to be nasty. You can, if you watch the scene back, you can see her face waiting. She's just irritated. How can I lash out? How can I lash out? Looking for an opportunity to lash out. She's a miserable B word.
She is. Yeah. Looking at for a chance to not be compassionate, like they're debriefing and processing, and Ayan is just like, she called me a victim. Like, I can't believe she did that. I think you're triggered by that word, okay? She didn't mean it in that way, but you can't hear it any other way because you're triggered.
No, and it's like, no, number one, shut the fuck up, because there is a useful way to use victim. As the person who is the object of violence, abuse, or otherwise bad behavior from a perpetrator. The word victim is incredibly useful, but Sarah thinks it's a bad word. She says victimize. She said you're playing victim. These are all the ways to victim blame somebody for something that they suffer. She only meant it one way.
I mean, that's the calling card of Sarah's anti-Blackness too. You have to call the woman who suffered a childhood abuse that has now become narrated as a trauma. You have to call that person victimized, because you can't countenance like Black suffering, you can't countenance that a woman would have had fair suffering around that. Like, what?
And I last week said, like, oh, she can't empathize. On the contrary, I'm sure actually Sarah has some deep childhood wounds and trauma to reach back to herself. Like, it seems that way to me, given her behavior. She just won't touch them, right? She will have had to transcend them in her mind, which is to say, avoid, disavow, not deal with them. And then that way she can shit on other people.
Yeah. And honestly, for me, that's the most discouraging part, at least for now, of this budding friendship with Stanberry and Ayan, is that she's getting, Lisa helps Ayan toe the line on certain, like principled stances.
Yeah.
And like as she gets separated from Lisa, she's now gonna like let people like Sarah run all up over her.
Okay, that's the discouraging part, right? Because it's like we can just chalk it up. Sarah's nasty. That's not whatever. What can you do about that? People are like that. It's like, but Ayan's probably her impulse to run to power is really gonna be her unmaking. Like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah,
very sad. Very sad.
Speaking of Sarah,
another week has gone by of me being correct about her enneagram, but Ellen would like to challenge the notion that Sarah's a 7. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, excuse me, if you are correct, if yours is the default position, I would like you to make the case to begin.
No, I'm the host here, please.
sick. She is sick. Okay, but for the sake of the viewers, can you say more about what an Enneagram 7 is and what it is about Sara that lends herself to that?
Okay, yes. So Enneagram 7s are they're the grass is always greener number. They're the FOMO number. They're afraid of pain, and then there's a word that I'm looking for. What's the word? It starts with a D. It's
Narcissism. Oh, sorry.
well, they are
Narcissist is their like key figure, like right, like.
And
the word is not dilettante.
no, they are dilettantes. Well, okay, let's just get into it. All right. So, being deprived. Okay. So it's constantly like Sara is constantly trying new things because she's like, how can I experience like the best? How can I, because I deserve the best. I deserve to be happy. I deserve to be free. And, she's tried 10 different ways to heal just so that she can have that, transcendence that, she is always looking to that new like thing to what'd you say?
A trend.
Yes, very on trend. They care a lot about what's on trend. They don't care about what, like, if that contradicts what I've done in the past, I don't give a fuck, If that steps on somebody else's neck, I don't give a fuck. It's like they're always oriented. They're very future oriented. They're very action oriented. They're very to the point of narcissist. They're very narcissistic, self-centered. How can I get mine? They're not really worried about the noise, which is other people that you are in community with.
Other people with needs and stuff.
Yes, their needs are the central thing. Like they wake up, they go, what do I need? And that like kind of governs their day. As opposed to like, what am I supposed to do?
As opposed to like the responsibilities to their children that maybe weren't, attended to as
yes.
Okay. I'm prepared to make a case for what I think Sara is, but I want to say that this is like this is a like fact-finding discovery, right? Like I'm only engaging the debate because there are multiple things, and this is true about the Enneagram in general. Like there are multiple types one should consider before settling. Like the matter is never settled technically, right? Like sometimes I'm like, am I an 8 or am I a 4? Because also I have a very 8ish.
Because she's a Gemini,
Sara. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, me or Sara?
I was like, you,
but I could see that for Sara as
Sara, Gemini. Let's find out.
Or she could be a Capricorn. I bet she's a Capricorn. Let's find out.
Okay. I also want to say about Sara and that description that I just gave of the 7, right? You can be married and remarried many a times for many reasons. I think that she has been married twice now as part of her 7 saga. Continue.
Okay.
January 20th, the last day of Capricorn.
She and my dad have the same
January
birthday.
20th, the last day of Capricorn.
Yes.
Okay, just call me a face reader because at this point, I could make a living off of this.
Okay, that doesn't count because Sara's face. Oh my gosh, are you reading her old face?
I'm not reading her face. I'm reading her behavior, and I don't even know astrology well. Okay, I just know Capricorns have a superiority complex. They're elitist and they're rigid.
Oh my God, my dad was a Capricorn 7.
Oh yeah. Cool.
Wow.
Okay.
I cannot believe Sara's a Capricorn. Sorry, go on.
I can. Let me just say one thing to consider is her job too. So I'm watching with my partner who has like family from Dubai, who's been to Dubai a few times and like has a sensibility about Dubai, right? Like experienced it become Dubai. And he was like, when they were saying Sara's like, she's saying this in the context of being set up with this man, which we'll get to, but she's like, I run tech companies and I'm a public speaker. Embarrassing. What a narcissistic description of your job. Anyway, my partner is pointing out like, okay, she's just the Emirati on the board of the company so that they can get the benefits. Like that, like that might be what's actually happening. Because does anything about Sara give us like a person who would be in charge of tech companies? Is she like, it's not even like, you know what I mean? Nothing else seems to corroborate that that's her work. It doesn't come across in her person. Unlike, say, Lisa, who is very fashion forward, always talking about fashion. Unlike Ayan, who is giving us supermodel in all respects. Unlike Stanberry, who is giving us IG influencer in every, you know what I mean?
Like, with her job.
How is Sarah's job bear on her life? She's literally just the figurehead.
Yeah.
Which is very sevenish. Sevens don't have careers. They just have random ways to facilitate their lives.
It is very sevenish. And that is what will complicate the idea of her as a 3, which is an alternative thing to consider, because 3 and 7 have a strong relationship. They're both like people who want to look like they're on top of their games. They both have a kind of people-pleasing tendency. They want to be well regarded by their peers and others.
And 3s also are in the action triad, action-oriented.
They both are action-oriented. They can both have superiority complexes. You know, anyway, they can both use people and discard them. Like, they both can relate to people in such a way that's like, I have no real regard for you, except insofar as you are instrumental to some aim I'm pursuing.
I was getting that from Sarah in that initial meetup at Talene's house. Like, she seemed so disaffected to be there. Like, Rafi's like, oh, so are you from Dubai? Yeah, I'm Emirati. Like, sit down, like, okay, yeah, you know, Talene is giving her energy. She's hosting her at the home. She's just very like over it, very not gracious, not warm, like really answering questions just as shortly as she can, not reciprocating a question.
And relatedly, by the time we get to the party, you can see that what she's like when she first meets people is cold. Now, I don't know if I would say this about a 3, but I got, from another moment, I got a Monique vibe. And that vibe is literally just like, she's not like funny, you know what I mean? But she's posturing herself like, I blend right in with this context. I should be here like commentating on what's, because like there's a moment where Talene goes, what is Brooks Arab? She's always late. And then busts out laughing. And Sarah's like, yeah, because there is that aspect to her. Like, I was like,
yeah, exactly.
Like, are you listening? Are you present? Yes. That was funny. Like, laugh. You know what I mean?
There's
like
that aspect to her that
it was so weird. And then she pretended to perform like, yes, I am in on the joke. And it's like, no, you're not. Like, something's wrong with you.
But I'm surprised to hear you say 3, because I thought it was going to be the 4 that you were going in the direction of.
And I have a case for the 4. Like, we have to move on, but I'll just make my quick case for the 4 is like the superiority complex, which is consistent with several other types. But like the 4 has this relationship to oneness. 1 and 4 have a strong connection. So you will often see in the 4 a kind of like, you know, what is it? A didactic personality that's just like, everybody should do the right thing, right? Like the 1 wears morality as like their burden, and they're just, The 4 is lit to tell people that they're not good enough, not doing it well. And so that aspect of her seems 4-ish to me. Plus, she has this bohemian thing. Where she's like, I don't want to live on the Palm. The Palm is for expats who want to show off. You know, like she's
that's 7-ish.
But it's she's giving me the bohemian aristocrat. She's giving me both at the same time. Like, I'm above this. I am an original Emirati. You know, like, I am not one of these new recent transplants. And at the same time,
I'm like, most authentic. I'm not. Yes, exactly. I'm not tacky.
Yes.
I'm grounded. I'm spiritual. She literally introduced herself as spiritual. Like, shut up.
Yes.
Spiritual.
Okay. That is a 7. That is a 7 that you think you're describing a 4. You're describing a 7. Okay.
No, don't. Okay. Please, for the sake of our viewers who are not familiar with the Enneagram, do not overstate it. That is also very characteristic of 4s.
Be quiet. Wait, the one thing I want to say is that it is true, the 4-1 connection. But just like the 1 goes to 4 in unhealth, the 1 goes to 7 in integration. 7s, unhealthy 7s are 1-ish. So I'm just stating that
so there's a strong connection. So that means we should consider the possibility of all 3. And for the record, America, Katherine is infamously bad at getting
Nope.
people's Enneagrams.
No,
I literally
no,
just told her what a
no.
longtime best friend of hers Enneatype was.
She's wrong about that. This woman has never met the friend I'm describing, and she's trying to tell me about her Enneagram.
Which friend?
No.
Which friend? Because I've
I
never
don't
met her.
Who are you talking about? I don't.
Write it in the chat. Take this to the chat, y'all. Take it to the chat. We got to move on. We got to.
All right. I'm not notoriously
He
bad.
works with these.
Okay. All right. Next, we are
name rhyme with aunt in Spanish.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Nash is gonna be thinking about it.
We're moving on. I'm right. Sorry. 2. Okay, this is very exciting. Ellen just tried to kill my vibe, but what's happening next is we are talking about the husbands of Dubai. Okay, as my toast suggested, and we're gonna be rating them. Okay, on all qualities.
We got a rich new crop, and I don't mean rich.
Literally,
yes.
not him.
Yes.
Rating or assigning points?
Well, what's the difference? You tell me.
Well, maybe the like ranking will be determined by the end of the season, but for now, I'm thinking we just give them points on the basis of their features in a given episode.
Okay. So while
what do you want, viewers? Let us know, because we're making it up as we go along. But a point tally might appear right there.
But I do think it should be a moving. You're right about that. It should be like and then 3 episodes from now, point for Zoran. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
I'm gonna write the points down with my trusty pen.
All right. So let's start off with Chris. So whose husband is that?
Who is that again?
Ayan.
Maybe most forgettable.
He seems very okay. So Chris, if you haven't watched the show yet, because many of you haven't, though you should start. Chris is Ayan's husband, as Ellen just said. He is American. He went to Boise State. Okay. He met Ayan in Kenya. So that's a little backstory. Like 20 years ago. What are
he's
thoughts?
Giving forgettable a little bit, which I like for Ayan. Like I like a white man who is going to play his position and let Ayan be herself and not.
She means if it must be a white man. That's
if it must be.
If it must be a white man.
If we all must die, as Claude McKay said.
Exactly. Let him be in the back. Yes.
However, this little Ayan beauty scene we got with him was giving a little bit more than I wanted to receive. But I'm also down to let me keep watching and reading. He was just giving a little bit of like both the white woman who she co-founded the beauty line with and him together, like bracketing her. We're like, we're the brains of this operation. And Ayan, she doesn't know what's up from down. She doesn't know how to carry a business. Yeah. What? I didn't like that.
I didn't like that either. And I have a proposal. Because we're also drawing on our sense of him from the preceding season, where he probably left a better impression on us, but it wasn't strong enough. So it's like, if you ask me, much of it was undone by this current appearance. So my proposal is that we give him -2 points. And the reason being, because when he's assisting her in writing this letter to Sarah, first of all, I know she's looking for words, so I'm not mad at him finishing her sentence, right? But she's like, you shouldn't have said that. And she's like, yeah. It's like, okay. And then she, like, when she's proposing how she should begin the letter, he's like, why don't you apologize for bringing it up at the wrong time? I'm like, did you ask enough fucking context to make this decision? Because if you ask me, Ayan did not bring it up at the wrong time. She brought it up when she felt her feelings most intensely. She's literally sitting there crying as Sarah is going, yes. And next, I will liberate and civilize young Brooks. A Black who also does not know better. Like
Ayan is, as you mentioned, she's being triggered and she's reacting earnestly. Her feelings are like, being affected. And Lisa says like, Ayan, are you okay? Because as soon as Sarah says the thing referencing herself as like some kind of high savior, they look at each other. And Lisa's like, are you okay? I see you reacting. This is a venue for you to talk to the women. It's literally, we're getting together for brunch. When is a better time for us to talk about
like I actually don't get it. And she knew the whole time she was gonna have this convo, like she needed to have this discussion with her. So it's like, no, this seems as good a time as any. The matter was discussed on national TV. It needs to be brought up on national TV. And an audience of women who are also a party to the discussion should be there.
Seems like Chris went to the same school, etiquette school as Stanberry on wrong place, faux pas, social grace, like all kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, let me say this. I agree with the -2 for Chris. I also will say, to the point of things moving, I could see that point his points going up very easily, because I think that my impression was the same, especially for both scenes you're describing, the like letter editing and the like business meeting. But I also got the sense that production was doing a lot with those.
Oh my God. Production. You know where you saw production? When she was like, do you know the last time I wrote a letter was before we got married? And he goes, we wouldn't have been married without that letter. I'm sure there's a story there that could better contextualize that. But production wanted to end it there. And then with him going like this.
Exactly. I felt the business meeting production really manufactured the scene
to
where
make
she
Ayan
was
look stupid. Of course.
Yes. It's like he clearly, they've been married for 20 years, whatever, 16, 17. It's like he wouldn't be talking to her about business if she didn't understand business. But then it's like, oh, he's the smart one. Like, I felt like that was totally manufactured.
Exactly. Yeah, because it's like Andy Cohen's little minions. Of course, they are lit to reinforce this idea that the whites are the intelligent ones and the blacks are just like the supplicant out there. Like, enough.
Right.
All the things said in that scene is like you wanted to take care to highlight the white woman saying, "Oh, we know Ayan. She doesn't ever think about
brain.
Oh my God, her brain is broke."
Exactly. And for the editing the letter scene too, it was very short. And so you hear her respond after he said, how about for bringing it up? She goes, why up? So it's like she's asking about this preposition, but we don't get the beforehand. Maybe she tried to say something like that already and he's rephrasing it, you know? So I stick with the -2, but I think that we could be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, well, we could have done -3 for production. So like he could have had a total of -5 points, and he's landing at -2 to account for Andy Cohen people's dirty work.
Yes. Okay. Totally. All right, now Richie Rich. Okay, Lisa Milan's husband.
He's nasty. I'm sorry. I mean, the first gut reaction I got to him.
Go with the gut.
The gut reaction I got was like American Psycho, hyper coiffed, too deliberately organized in a scary fashion, must control everything. Like it's too much. I don't like
American Psycho.
Yes.
He's reminding me of the bad guy in Grease. Remember he had bad skin? Like that's
if it's not John Travolta and Olivia Newton, we don't know.
Whoever the bad guy was supposed to be, he looked like his name was Craterface. I think in the movie his name was Craterface.
Like Mia? You think about Mia?
When I was thinking about what I was about to say, I was like, I could compare him to Mia, but no, I will compare him to the man in Grease.
Leave me out of it.
Go be in love with Ink Girl. No.
Fair.
It's something about Rich's. You know what it is for me? Like something about his dark black hair and his bleached teeth. Like something.
They're veneers. Bad veneers.
That's what gives me American Psycho. Like, wasn't he obsessed with like teeth or brushing teeth? I don't know. Something.
I could see that being a psycho's obsession.
It's very unsettling, and it's like makes me feel like Lisa is unsafe. It's just like, does he?
I thought that last season. For the record, I thought that last season. Okay, let me also say, besides Christian Bale in American Psycho, he's giving Tom Cruise at his most crazy. Remember when Tom Cruise was like deep into Scientology, like going on Oprah features, going like
on the
bridge. Yes.
Okay, listen, check your phones because it turns out I'm like a savant. I've never made a better comparison.
Turns out I'm a savant. That's
Not true. Okay, we'll put up a photo of Christian Bale, Tom Cruise, and Craterface, and then we'll see.
Do you see the energy? Can you imagine the energy of Craterface?
I just want you to know, Catherine, I know you brought this to bear on the Rich comparison, but I'm like actually jaw on the floor that Wendy was calling me a crater face in reference to this man. I thought she just created that off the top of the dome.
Well, she probably didn't remember. Like, she has grease in her memory bank, and then those words just came forward because they were suitable.
I didn't know he was a thing, though. I just thought she was like, because I was like, wow, great. I never would have like.
I didn't remember until you brought him up either. But I've seen grease many times.
Right. I too wasn't reading that as, but when I was like, wait, his name actually was, it clicked like that. No, that was actually his name in the thing.
That's so funny. Craterface.
Even to this day, it's like, well, that's what anyone would naturally say looking at me.
Literally, when Wendy said that, I said, I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it. I was like, why is her face so indented?
Well, for a lot of reasons. But okay. Back to Rich. I think what we're drawing on is a vibe. Plus, last season, he gave us a lot of reason to feel like that man is controlling. She called him condescending, right? Like,
she said you're patronizing. She said, this is very patronizing.
Okay. And
in their conversation of business, that wasn't a production convo. That was him actually being patronizing, which was very different than the vibe you got with Ayan and her husband.
So then Rich is like, she's like, you're such a stage dad, which is already her like pink bow, rose-colored glasses way to say you're overbearing and you're trying to impose. You're trying to live vicariously through the children, and it's sick. And then, I also really don't like the optics of white dad with black kids being like, you're going to play football. Okay. And then he's supposed to be a Brit. She's like, yeah, I bet every British dad, he's giving me Australia vibes. Like he has Australian ancestors, and it's just trying to rewrite this story.
You only have PTSD from Michael.
No, I also watch
Aussies are crazy.
I watch Married at First Sight Australia. That's actually those people are sick. Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't get past the first episode. I didn't want any more of that.
It's filled with drama. Those are the trashiest, sickest people.
The Brits sent their like asylum,
and that's why he doesn't want to be Australian. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. They founded that colony of a place by sending all the asylum dwellers and all of the social outcasts and all the sick people over there.
And who know what those people were doing? Diddling children, I bet. Okay.
And whatever. No, I'm not gonna say that about Rich. I'm not gonna say that.
I know. I almost said, and then I was like, why am I about to do that?
No, but can I say, like, the boys are cute, but even there's something about Rich that I see in them that I want to like reject in calling them cute sometimes. Like, I'm just like, is there cute? If I call them cute, am I like affirming something about Rich's like perfection?
Not all of them. There's 3, right? There's 3. And okay, first of all, the names. Hello, everyone noticed?
The names. Maximilian.
Christian Ronaldo. He's naming them after soccer players already. Like, these are very British soccer player names. Maximilian and Sebastian. Okay, but the point is that one of them really looks like him, and that one I'm like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, kiddo. Like, wait till your face changes. But the ones that don't, the ones that look just like Lisa, I'll take those.
I don't really gravitate towards any of her kids. I don't have strong feelings, but usually other people's kids, I'm like more. But I just
part of the problem is like I think the presence of Rich in them, and then like it's cute when you dress your kids up, but some like you can't actually dress them up. They're not.
I know.
And it's like when you dress them up, it's like it plays into his little perfect image of this is my soccer team that I've gotten. Yeah. And it's like, no, don't do that, please.
I like Sarah's kid and Brooks's kid better than Lisa's kids. Or not necessarily but I empathize with them. I think more fondly to,
Yeah.
Sarah's is good so far.
Yeah, he's a smart and cute little boy, and I'm just gonna pray for him because
I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop on him.
Yeah, literally. Okay, so I propose -10 points for Rich.
Yeah, -10 for
sure. How about 20? How about -20? How about that?
-20.
I also want to say we're gonna move along, but I also want to say that like the stage dad thing is offensive to me because Lisa's the one who is, Ubering the kids, she's the one driving the kids from place to place, changing her schedule. And it's disrespectful to real fucking stage moms out there that reorganize their whole lives.
Who are not only overbearing, but they're also present.
Yes.
Present.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Lisa has a whole fashion line that she's not just running, but expanding. But
the show, she has 2 jobs. He probably has 1.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes. So it's
he's
like
just
you
calling the shots. That's his
right. And at this point, I'm sure their earnings are commensurate. Like, he's just working in finance. Like, whatever. I don't know.
The thing is, he's acting like her stage dad.
Yeah.
That's so negative 20.
We'll get there when we do our season 1 rewatch and recap. Okay, negative 20. Now we got Zoran.
Love him. Love him.
Zoran's an ex-husband.
Love him.
We love a big fat angry man.
That's the problem. Watching season 1, he's not in season 1, but I do believe Brooks.
Zoran? Zoran's in season 1.
Well, he's not. I've only watched the first 9-ish episodes of season 1. He's not there yet.
He'll get there.
But I believe, that he was a shitty husband. So I don't want to start him off high. But every appearance of him, I've liked.
He probably was a shitty husband, and we have to always keep patriarchy in view. But I mean, Brooks, what do you got? Like, she's not great.
Well, the more I see of her, the more I'm like, and okay, he cut Adam's hair. He gave Adam a little swoosh moment.
Yes.
Like I liked it.
For marking the child as black, where Brooks would clearly rather do another fucking thing, sicko. I want to give Zoran 5 points at least.
At least. I mean, I love an angry man because it feels like he's not gonna cut through the bullshit. Like, she in the first episode, he's like, he comes and he's like, listen, I'm not the fucking plumber. I'll call somebody. Like, he's just not playing these games.
Yeah.
With
but he at least showed up for the walkthrough, right? Like, he's like, you're misunderstanding. I'm gonna do the walkthrough and then tell my people to follow up. She's like, fix it now. Take your wrench out. He's like,
Zoran, I would like him to be my neighbor. That's the energy.
So service. I feel like I like it because all you have to do is just stand up to them. Like, show them that you have a backbone and they'll be happy.
No, girl, but when they're big and fat, they're gonna beat you and you will.
No, exactly. I believe some of those allegations. It's funny because Kristen is reminding me. I was talking to someone this weekend and I thought she was unhinged, but I guess Kristen is too. She was talking about this breakup and then she goes, but I like to know my man's strong enough to beat me up.
Not that kind of unhinged.
Oh, get somebody else to do it. No.
Those are 2 bridges too far.
On the contrary, I'm the exact opposite. He better be smaller than me so I can do the beating. Okay.
The person I was talking to is a stunt double. And all right. Next.
So what's the final answer for points? 5, 10? We might even give him 10.
5. I will give him 5.
I say
he's still white.
I'll give him 10 because think about what we're giving him points for. Blackening the child.
Yeah.
10. Yeah, that gives it
cutting through Caroline's bullshit. Like, he's not enabling her little flights of fancy about herself. He's like, no.
And I will say, he's funding Caroline's project. That's a good thing.
Yeah. More or less.
He's building her glass house.
Yeah. He gets 2 points for that and at least 8 points for blackening the child. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Sergio.
I'm really enjoying him. I'm really enjoying him. I think I like him as a counterpoint to Stanberry. What would I give Sergio? I think he is.
You wanted to give him the Peter Thomas Award.
The Peter Thomas Award for doing women's business better than the women can.
Sergio knows about women's work, okay?
As Nene would say, he knows how to be in women's business, okay?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Okay, position. Remember at the party that Talene hosted, Sarah, even though she had just told Talene she wanted to be set up, somehow found herself being introduced to a man and saying, Sergio, I don't want to be introduced to a man. Sergio swooped in and was like, oh, girl, I know what's happening here. We can get you out of here.
And you love that. And you love a man who is attentive to the social and power dynamics and lending his support. I would say if that was my man and I was Stanberry, I would be like, swear to God, you better not be getting no bitch arm, because what he's gonna do is pretend to be her husband for the rest of the night. And if it was another woman, I wouldn't mind if I were Stanberry. But the way Sara summoned him, like she knew he was gonna fall in line. She said, Sergio, I don't want this.
If you recall later that night when Stanberry and Brooks go outside to sit down and Sara somehow inserts herself only to say, I can't be in the middle anymore. I'm going to go play with Sergio. Basically, she says, I'm going to go back to the party and play with Sergio. Yeah. So like they became little,
She's trying to cook something.
Let me say this. I don't know if y'all's rewatches of season 1 or 2 long ago, but he does often play this role. Last season when Stanberry was, at odds with Lisa and Ayan, Sergio made small talk with Lisa right across from Stanberry.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And then Stanberry goes, oh, so now you're going to suck his dick, huh?
I remember like Kristen's face. I remember that. And I was like, bitch, you're so inappropriate.
Yeah. She was like, you're with them now. Oh, so you're okay.
It's her way of pawning him off, which is a secret desire she's nursing.
Yeah. And that's probably why she wasn't offended that he came to Sarah's rescue. Like, word to our last episode where we're speculating at the nature of their relationship.
Okay, right. Because a good reason why we like Sergio is because he's giving us, like gay BFF, right? Like he's very flamboyant. He can't possibly be very into Stanberry. We love that.
I mean, Giselle would be a better person if Sergio was her friend.
Not Cal.
Not Cal. Because Cal is a key enabler. But Sergio has enabling qualities. Let us be clear.
Oh, but Sergio also is showing us vulnerable sides. Like he's just like, I can't. Like the idea of you going to America with Chim is just like not doing it for me. He's kind of vulnerable. Even if it's unreasonable.
All right, I do really like Sergio. Everything y'all are saying is resonating with me, but I stand by. He has to get deductions for really forcing this kid situation. That's not cool with me. I don't know. Like
it's the problem is coming between the parent and the child, right? Because, but Katherine, let me pose it to you this way. You marry a woman who has adolescent children already, adolescent and young children as well. And you hit it off with them. Like it's going well. A year into the marriage, you can see the daughter is like, I resent the amount of time you and my mother spend together, the closeness you two have. And it's like, okay, but my needs, speaking from Sergio's perspective, this is what I'm like. This is how my relationship started. This is what I signed up for. I do notice that my wife is relatively hands-off with her children.
Yeah.
So it's like nothing seems to me to have changed. It seems to me now that the daughter is upset by something she will have experienced out of her mother for years, and I'm being made the accountable party for that. And I do have trust issues. I don't know if I want my wife going off with her ex-husband. And the reason I have trust issues is also because this woman withholds affection from me. Okay.
Yes.
She withholds affection. She can be cold. She can be withdrawn.
So now he's anxious about the connection. Yes.
Yes. I don't want my stepdaughter to feel bad, but I also don't want to give my wife the opportunity to cheat on me.
Yeah.
But okay, the stepdaughter season 1, like Sergio, all of those, dynamics had not really seeped in yet, to your point. But season 1, they were very clear. The kids were clear, like, Mom, you should not be having more children. Okay.
Everyone who can see is clear about that.
Yes. Yeah. This girl is now going into college. And the mom is going to have another kid. The mom, after her last kids, had serious complications. The doctors advised against having more kids. And Sergio is saying he doesn't want a surrogate. He wants her to bear the kids. It's too much.
We already talked about that. They are both equally at fault. I would argue for that because Caroline Stanberry knows that about Sergio and married him in light of that, as if she was going to talk him out of it. She has frozen eggs as a gesture to say, okay, I'm down with your plan. She probably didn't even want the last kids. Okay.
Yeah.
It's only one egg too, ain't it? Like it's like that is not good odds for her. It's not good odds for her.
If she given what we see, she probably wasn't that present for the older child. Why did she have even more kids after that? Yeah. Why is she planning to have more? Is she just trading children for commitment from men? Like, because that's a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, it came out, last thing I'll say, then we'll score and move on. Again, last season at Ayan's birthday party, someone was asking Stanberry about logistics about the wedding, and like, well, why are you getting married if, and it was some question, and she goes, in front of the whole birthday party table, seated dinner, I didn't want to get married. He's the one that wants to get married, So already it was, but
maybe there was like, okay, maybe we need to learn more about Jim in this old relationship. Maybe we need to watch up Ladies of London to see what we can see about him.
Would like that.
No. Let me tell you why I don't want us to watch Ladies of London, because Andy Cohen is pushing that shit on us. He wants the ratings. Do you notice now when your Dubai goes off, Ladies of London cues right up and is about to start playing? I don't want it. Stop shoving Stanberry down my fucking throat. Her only redeeming quality is her husband. No, I hate her.
All right, so what's
saying that to say? Maybe she learned or is feeling like she gets the upper hand this time because Jim made her feel not like a priority, like she was needy. So now she gets to have by being the older one, being the more like masculine type, like
yeah. We'll see. All
right, Kristen, what do you score Serge?
I'm gonna give Sergio 17 points.
Wow.
Yeah, 17 because like mostly provides good time so far. I don't think his intentions are nefarious, even if he has misguided interest in investments. I think he is pro-social. He seems to take to a crowd well, and that's always good to watch in a Housewives reality show. He's way more pro-social than Caroline. So, I'm gonna give him 17.
Yeah. Okay. It's 17 Ellen? because I will accept the proposal, because as long as what we understand is Stanberry's at -30. Oh, so Sergio's just creating balance.
Yes.
And I will say, I agree with the 17 because I agree with Zoran at 10. And if I also believe that Zoran was semi-abusive to Brooks at least, then okay, 17. If that's 10, then 17 for Sergio seems right.
He doesn't have enough history for us. Yeah, true.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we can be quick with Jem. Jem is Stanberry's ex-husband, a Turk. That's why you spell it CEM and pronounce it Jem. And I don't have any points for him necessarily, but I am very interested to know that that's a off-white man, another off-white man for Stanberry.
Her colonizing mission. Yep.
I'll say now Jem's a 0. We just,
I want to know more about, I'm sure if he was a absentee kind of husband, he doesn't feature prominently in the show, and watching Ladies of London isn't going to be worth looking.
I'm going to watch.
But I'm curious. I just want more context on him. Maybe there will be a America college tour episode where we get to see some Jem.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay, what if he would have -10 points for even getting with Stanberry? And then what if we give him 9 points for at least trying to flee her whilst married to her?
That's the thing.
Is the smart part. It's you might get -10, and we'll say Prince Andrew, who's rumored to have had a relationship with Stanberry, gets -10 because that was a poor decision. Maybe he gets negative.
No, Prince Andrew gets he definitely was out here with little girls. He gets way more than -10. Okay. Are you kidding me?
-150.
He's not in it.
But I think that I will give Jem a lot of credit for leaving Stanberry, especially knowing that he was the absentee one. He was gone every 2 weeks, she was saying, for long periods. I think that, as we've seen from Stanberry, she actually likes being independent. She likes doing her own thing. Yeah. So I think Jem forced the divorce. And honestly, Stanberry's kids, especially given who Stanberry is, what I've seen of her children, I don't dislike them. So I think Jem is, I'm no negative
Let's
points.
Bring him back to 0 then. Let's give him an extra point because Turkish Airlines is unbeatable.
But is it better than what's the one that's based in Abu Dhabi or whatever. Isn't that Etihad? Or is that Qatar? No, Qatar is Qatar.
Oh, Etihad.
Or Emirates. Emirates. Duh, that's
Emirates,
it.
yes.
Yes, Emirates. I heard that.
I can't speak to those.
Okay.
I had a friend who used to be a flight attendant for Emirates. They liked it a lot.
Yeah. Well, all the non-US ones are better, at the very least.
Okay, last, my king, Rafi.
Thick.
Thoughts
Okay.
on
Rafi only gets negative points for being an overgrown baby who doesn't know where his children's shoes are,
that was so
and can't and goes, "This is the struggle of daddy's life," trying to put the shoe. Raf, enough. Stop bragging about how much you are an uninvolved parent. That's disgusting. We do not like that. And I might give you negative 100 points for it. It's so fucking triggering to me. But I'm gonna just take for granted that all the men are like that. And only give him like negative 15.
Sergio, remember he wants to be the head baby.
Yes, Sergio would have all the kids' clothes laid out the night before.
Yes, he would. Yes, he would.
Okay,
but Rafi has some redeeming qualities that might bump him into the positive, right? Like when she says, "Do y'all like calf skis?" to talk about caviar or something like that. He said, "Don't ever." He walks by, "Don't ever say that."
I would like to be at a happy hour scene, a networking event with Rafi. Okay, he would be a breath of fresh air.
Okay. What's the proposal for his points?
Yeah, you tell us, Catherine. That's your king.
Well, I always forget about that scene, that big baby scene. I did not like, but I really like Talene, so I'm giving him points for marrying Talene.
Yeah.
If we had Zoran at 10 and I believe he was abusive, let's say that Rafi's at 13, 15.
15? That's high ranked.
I'll give him 12. I propose 12 because we cannot ignore the shoe scene.
That's true.
Like,
and
we can't ignore it.
I also feel like he is a young Zoran. Like, because I almost said I could be Rafi's neighbor. And then I was like, oh, I already said that about Zoran. So
maybe.
Okay. So what's the final answer?
I'm good with 12.
Okay. You too, Kristen?
I would say 11.
Wow.
I'm willing to go to 11. That gives him one more point than Zoran.
I don't think Talene went hard enough at him for clowning him for being a baby. It's just like,
nigga, you can't embarrass herself.
I'm over here trying to chop the food, and you ask me where the baby shoes are?
No. Rafi is a 12. That is a fun couple. I would love to be their friends, go on a vacation.
I would have an aneurysm if I were.
Split the difference, 11.5. Final answer. Okay, next.
So that's the last husband.
Yes.
And now
we'll be back to the point values next episode. Okay, stay tuned.
All right. Don't disappoint me, Rafi. Okay, now we're gonna round out this episode with a discussion of the main event. Okay, in what is it? Friendship. Why it's this called Friendship on the fucking Rocks? Okay.
Should we do fast fire impressions of the party, observations from the party?
Okay.
Liked seeing Talene's family, her parents, and her sister. I liked that this sister also thought Sarah was a bitch.
Did she say that?
No, but it was clear in the interaction. When Sarah goes, talk, the sister was confused. That's how rude it was. But then the sister didn't try and make up for it, you know?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say that it was crazy that Brooks was trying to shade Talene by suggesting she's like the president's wife. She's taking notes from Lisa like a pageant queen. You seem to be getting both women very wrong. You have this secret investment that you're not talking about. Like, I mean, maybe it's not even conscious to you. I'm willing to accept that as the answer. She drinks a lot. She's
so loud that I
press.
Yeah.
But the idea that like both Talene and Lisa are giving like doing it for the optics of all the women, I would argue those are the least likely doing it for the optics.
And in fact, that tells me you're very invested in the picture that you see them articulating that they're not going for. It's like they have the husband and the kids and the family and the home and the wealth. It's like that's the picture you're invested in that you're reading onto them, not that they are up to, you know.
The way that Brooks is pushing this storyline of like Stanberry, disrespected Talene, and Talene doesn't want it, Stanberry doesn't want it. They had their own conversation. It's like Giselle, except without the backing of production. Like this is a manufactured storyline that you're injecting. No, like
And
I'm
that's
not here
the
for it.
thing. Manufactured, it doesn't have to be manufactured by production, but it's like manufactured as in like invented, contrived, like brought out. You're just constructing this thing. Like nobody's mad but you, Caroline. You keep trying to like you're there's no stimulus and yet it continues to boil over for you. Like nobody is feeding the fire that you're flaming,
It's very ugly.
I will say Ayan is like, what? The comment was funny. No, I don't think it was funny. I was not impressed by the comment. I wouldn't call it funny. I wouldn't say like, my husband saw her vagina. Like that's clear shade, and Talene caught it. And, she caught it and she put it in its proper context, which is like, I'll watch this B word, but I'm not going to, I can't evenize her out. I'm new to the show. Like that would be stupid, right? Like, I will say that. But now here's my new theory. I actually cooked a theory up last night, but I don't remember much of it. But I will say, I think Brooks got a message from production, truly original, Andy, maybe directly. Stanberry is the queen bee. Stanberry is the queen bee. You must all contend with her in order to sit on this platform. And I think Brooks is lashing out, consciously or unconsciously, about that fact. And she was once Stanberry's little pet. So you would think this is gonna rest on a conception of her enneatype, right? Like you would think somebody who's close to power would be like, yes, here's my in. But I think instead she's threatened and she's like, excuse me? Stanberry's in charge? So now she's pivoting and glomming on, as Katherine likes to say, reattaching herself to Talene instead of Stanberry. And I think Stanberry understands that, which is why she says to Ayan at some random moment when Ayan is pointing out the conflict, at least it's brought you and I together.
Yes, Ayan says, Stanberry, you've 100% been dumped. And points to Brooks and Talene humping each other. Or really Brooks,
They're humping each other, which is like Stanberry's a 7, right? And so Stanberry feels the loss of her adherent in the form of Brooks, because a 7 wants adherence, right? They want people to follow their gospel. So she's like,
Sarah, hashtag Sarah.
I will give you that. So she's really like, I'm not comfortable with this, but you're gonna follow me from now on, right, Ayan? And Ayan's unfortunately gonna answer yes to that request.
I don't want to hear it.
But I think that's what's going on with Brooks. I think Brooks is like, wait a minute, why are you bolstering her? What would make her be the one? It's as if like we're speaking about a person who probably has good instincts and whose anti-Black sensibilities produces actually terrible behavior in the wake of those instincts.
All right.
It's devastating to watch. It was, the party was chaos, unhinged, like hard to track, but so many different dynamics that were getting aired, so many different people reacting, so many people meeting, such a rich text, so many like layers to unfold, to pull back. Sara to me was on her worst behavior, worst kind of house guest, worst kind of person to party with, when, there's no better time to meet like boys than with your friends around, like especially when you're drunk, she's getting introduced to boys. Stakes are even lower if you don't even like them, if they're not cute. Right? Let's play together. And there was the moment when
she meets the white man. Sergio says, I thought he said fake tits.
That's it. When the man was like, where'd you get your tats done? And she's like, all over the world. And he was like, I thought he said, where'd you get your tits done? Stanberry laughs out loud, says it to Sara. She's like, can you imagine? I gotta get out of here.
And then Ayan goes, you did get your tits.
You did. And it's like the best, it's like the most fun, because count on your friends to like break the ice for you. Like,
and then she responds to the man in Arabic, which none of the others speak.
And does he speak it? Like, why would when she directed the Arabic to him?
She knows he does. She just met him, but she knows he does. She knows he does.
I'm just like, that is the cutest little interaction. Yeah, when Ayan is like, yeah, you did though. You did. Just like you got your face and your nose and your chin and your buccal.
Whole body.
She does whole body. She doesn't go that far. So it's like even less reason for Sara to do this little rude gesture. But I will say, that man is ugly. Like, I would also flee him, but I wouldn't be like, I didn't want to be set up, because that's just a lie.
That's not true.
You did want to be set up. You didn't want to be set up with an ugly man, but Talene is merely reflecting what she sees in you.
Exactly. Yes. Ugliness.
The man is ugly. But if we see the original pictures of Sara, you know. He actually would have been a catch.
Somebody else to do it.
He would have been a strong catch. So, and I know
like my eyes are about to start bleeding. So just conjure the memory of that.
Girl is catfishing us with a whole new face. Like
whole new face.
Oh my
God. And speaking of whole new faces, Stanberry's new face. We already talked about Stanberry's face last time, but she shows up with spaghetti straps, and I go, now that new face, as still ugly as it is, does not match your 70-year-old body. Why is she like Mr. Burns? Like
Mr. Burns. with her weathered, sun-stained leather skin, and then you gonna have the nerve to wear spaghetti straps when you just got
cupping, yeah.
And you're in Dubai, like you have every excuse to wear something sexy and full coverage. Like, you did not need spaghetti straps. Like, you want us to know that you're actually 70 and you just got a new face.
Oh my goodness. Oh.
I also think it's very important to remind ourselves that this chaotic party was on a Monday night. Just throwing that out there. What else do we got going on?
Oh, well, I'll say early on, Brooks insults Talene, her friend, en route to trying to insult Stanberry. Like, when Talene's sister is standing there, she goes, "Is your vagina okay?" Like,
oh yeah, because she's like, is that when they're dancing and then
they're just standing around at that early moment.
Oh, I just remember the moment Talena's like, "Oh, I can't bend over because, you know, like I'll flash y'all," and she's like, "And your hoo-ha will come out just like Caroline Brooks." Like,
and this is what I will say. This is making me like Talene more. It's making me one side. I like, ooh, why were you ever friends with Brooks? But I like that Talene is clearly wincing, cringing at Brooks's behavior and not trying to, you know,
embarrass her.
Yes, she's being a real friend. You can tell that they had a real friendship.
And I will say that, like, even if Brooks's behavior is ugly, what I really respect about Talene is, like, she is not quick to throw her away or throw her under the bus. Like,
because if Talene was Kiarna, she would be, you would just, you know, and I like Kiarna. I like Kiarna, but Kiarna would she would be like, okay.
Because America's read of Kiarna was that she was a loyal friend. I didn't personally see it. Like, I wouldn't be giving Giselle no time of day if, you know.
She's being way
where
too
my loyalty goes, I barely be speaking to Giselle.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Way too deferential.
And
I read in that party, I think Talene got as fucked up and turned up as she was nervous. She was hosting these women for the first time. Yes, drinking started early, but I kind of feel like she was turning up with Caroline and almost to encourage the good time expression as opposed to the like anxious tension expression. And it seemed like it forestalled the actual confrontation for a while. Like, it seemed to me Selena was reasoning like, let me just get my girl in her good time mode and we can twerk and be, you know, loud and have a good time together. And maybe that will distract her, you know?
And just like, I mean, I feel like we covered, you know, the key moments. So now we're on the balcony where the episode ends. And I will say, like, Brooks was hilarious in her, you know, dysfunction. Talking to Selena, like, and then she said, "What?" And she's like,
"No, that is not funny to me."
Stanberry, and also like Brooks I mean, Stanberry, you're not drinking that much. Why are you antagonizing a drunk girl? She's wasted. Why would you even antagonize her? You're stupid. And then at the end, shout out once again to Talene for her powers of discernment, because Stanberry pulls a classic white girl move and is like, I'm just exiting while people are in the middle of talking to me. And
in the middle of this. And that's a classic 7 move as well. You know?
It's not just Brooks as the drunk. Like, now other friends of yours are sitting around and you're just about to get up and walk off. And Talene's like, why'd she walk off though? Like, that's wildly inappropriate. Like, at this woman's house, no less.
No one else was going to say shit. And Talene was like, yo, she literally left when Brooks was talking to her. And it's like, Brooks is very inebriated, but still Talene's like, no, that was disrespectful.
And Talene keeps trying to read it generously. She said, listen, Brooks is loyal to a fault. I think she just went, and Brooks is like, she did what? What did she just do? Like, you know, she just yeah, like
I feel like you would do a bomb impression of Brooks, Kristen. Get it ready. Get it ready.
I got the wings. Just let me tap me in, coach. Tap me in.
Let me say, we all have our thoughts on Stanberry. I thought it was hilarious when she was like, when she was defending why she left in the confessional. She was like, why would I be arguing with someone whose eyes were low? Brooks was so like, it was so just no. I don't find it entertaining
too, because when she was like she was looking down at that moment. I saw that she was.
I know. Production really helped her. All I'm saying is I actually don't find drunk Brooks entertaining. I think it's really? Yes, because I feel like
her entertaining. No.
No, I'm not saying it's in a bad way. I think Brooke should not be on TV for her own sake. Like, I feel like she's very miserable, and it's hard for me to watch that personally.
I don't think she's miserable. I don't think that's the right way to describe. She's troubled. She's not miserable. She's not miserable. Like, do you know what misery is? Stanberry is miserable. Brooks is not miserable.
It's different flavor.
Troubled, and she's in peak trouble at the moment.
What's troubled mean? What's troubled mean?
There's something literally there to address, and she's coping by drinking alcohol. Like, as much as Sara is an asshat,
drink it away.
Okay, so on. As much as Sara is an asshat, she kind of named it perfectly. She said, Brooks has been at work all night, every night, overworking, and I've noticed she's drinking to cope, and that's not a good coping mechanism. That's it. That was actually a moment of non-heavy judgment from her, thankfully, and that's what I would name. Like, something is going on with Brooks. That's what's actually happening. She's not miserable. Miserable is a condition of living, and that's Stanberry.
Note that it's only been 2 episodes, and every function, gathering, get together we've seen from Brooks nearly, she's been not just drinking, but like
getting wasted.
No, like, exactly. And I personally do not enjoy, like, and I'm not saying that as a negative towards Brooks, but I do not enjoy watching that.
And the reason why you can't call that miserable is because that's actually what you do as well. You get wasted at every social function. Like, you can see, like, some people, like Talene, right? Like, maybe you're more like Talene. Like, some people are drinking to have a turned up good time, and they're attached to the most reckless good time possible. I can totally relate to that. But you can see with Brooks, there's like an issue because she's using the alcohol to like give expression to her true feelings.
And she's getting wasted before the event. Like, it's like to drink as you're preparing for the event, as we saw Talene doing because of nerves, is one thing. But like, you arrive to the girls' brunch, she's it already.
Right. Yes. Right. No, and I do think that's why I don't think it's funny.
It's sad. It is sad. It is sad. But miserable is a very important word that we should mark. Miserable is not at all what I would use to describe what she's going through. She has something on her chest that's gonna come out eventually.
All right. Until it does. I can't wait to see what it is.
When Brooks,
because Kristen enjoys drunk Brooks.
Who wants another shot? Let's go.
All right. Well, this is the end of our time together. Final thoughts. Do we have questions for our fans?
Don't disrespect us.
They just unfollowed us from the
I know.
Whoever might have thought themselves a fan of our work is now like, nah, I wouldn't.
Let us know what you thought of the episode. Like, The husbands. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's your top 3 husbands?
Yes.
That's what we need to know.
Most redeemable, most detestable. What is your determination? Come on.
And please, please, please watch Real Housewives of Dubai. I have to say, give my own personal testimony. I too didn't really care to watch it. I didn't have anything against it, but there were other things on my agenda. Let me say, it's worth it. It's
wipe the agenda clean. Make some space for Real
It is
Housewives.
very worth it. It is very worth it. Okay.
All right.
Until next time. Bye.